This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. While we can all get wrapped up into all the big titles that come our way, it is often the smaller games that end up being these really awesome titles that consistently surprise me. Much of the game's media is taken up about talking about these big games, which I can see based on their size and budgets. And while I enjoy many of these big titles too, I always manage to find myself surprised when I dive into the indie or smaller side of the gaming scene. You honestly never really know what you're going to find, and it also seems like a place where if you're looking for a specific style, genre, or even combination of genres, you can find that there too. Best of all, there are those instances where you have no idea that a title has been released. I had this experience with Air Twister. It's a throwback title and one that deserves more attention. It is very much that hidden gem type of a game. I have played a few arcade titles in the last few months, and it further reinforces how if you have a good, simple, and fun gameplay loop, you really don't need much else. Sure, a compelling story helps, interesting visuals, and a soundtrack that can properly pump more energy into the actions as well, but good gameplay is what keeps us hooked for the runtime, or provides great reasons for us to return back and replay the title. That is really at the heart of these games. Remembering this time when I was a kid, arcade titles generally brought an absorbing audio and visual experience, and the gameplay was easy to understand and enjoy right out of the gate. Throw some quarters in and just escape for a few minutes or maybe even longer. Air Twister is that type of experience. It throws in some progression systems that bring us back to the very best of the PS2 generation, where we would earn a lot of unlockables and not have it all relegated to in-game purchases. We used to have stuff to grind for that was fun to unlock and achieve, and Air Twister reminds us of those times. Air Twister is a rail shooter, think Space Harrier. You move around, shoot everything that you come across, and dodge various enemies. Reach the boss, take them out, and then move on to the next stage to do the same thing in a different space. If you want to know what the gameplay is in a nutshell, that is pretty much it, and it's really great. It's an old school title with a new coat of paint. It gets you into the action right away, and then provides various options to enjoy the game, while also working towards gaining various unlocks. It's kinda cool how the game starts. After the tutorial, you're thrown right into it, and it's just like playing an arcade title at the actual arcade. There isn't really a menu the first time you boot this up. You boot the game and you're right into the action. I was actually kind of surprised when I died, as it brought me back to the main menu, and I found out that there was a set of additional modes and even unlocks that were waiting for me as well. It's always cool when a game can provide those moments of surprise to the player, especially when going into this one blind was really awesome. So how is the game actually played? Well, for starters, you just need to worry about your aiming and dodging enemy fire and obstacles. You are on a ride as you shoot and dodge your way through various levels. You can manually fire off your shots, but if you highlight enemies, you can use your lock-on, which will let you destroy several enemies at once. And for the start of it, that's pretty much it. As you unlock more items within the upgrade paths, you'll gain additional weapons, health, and even powers. One of the early guns that I got to use allowed me to charge up a shot, which did a lot of damage, and it could be done in conjunction with my lock-on as well. Slow-mo is a useful ability, giving you an edge to be able to dodge enemy attacks, and then get in several shots. This can be really useful for many of the boss fights. You essentially earn stars as you play, and these can be turned in the upgrade paths. You know what you're getting into here, and some of the choices will come down to what you want to unlock first. One thing that is really impressive is the wealth of cosmetic options that you have. There's so many outfits and hairstyles to unlock. And this is where it really brings me back to an older title, a time where games would be flooded with additional things to earn and see, whereas most big games nowadays would see the same stuff within their game, but it's all done through DLC and additional purchases. In this way, Air Twister reminds me of a better time. Plus, the hook of the progression is what always keeps you coming back, wanting to earn those stars, and then being able to take advantage of your next unlock. There are even daily and weekly challenges that help to feed into this as well. Extra modes and levels can be unlocked as well, so if you like what you see from the main mode, there are more that open up as you unlock them. I have to speak about the soundtrack too. The music in this game is simply awesome. Here are a few tracks from the game. Something I am noticing is that there seems to be a lot of gems that come out of Apple Arcade, so when that service launched there were a lot of titles made exclusive for it. My guess is that Apple really wanted to get people on board with their service quickly, so one way to really attract a lot of people is to have a set of exclusives, and hopefully really good exclusives to keep them joining and then staying on. I have no idea if this service ended up doing well for Apple in the long run. I would imagine as a developer they would like that they were given money to exclusively put their game on a service, as opposed to having it everywhere else, because this could actually help with the developmental costs of the game. While this might be frustrating from the player's side of things, because this means that you only have one avenue to play the game, from the developer's standpoint this could be a good thing, and really positive for the game's development and maybe future titles, especially depending on the cost and what the developer would be receiving. But because of all of this, after those contracts I imagine expired, the title then can have a second launch of sorts on other systems like the Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, along with even being on other platforms on the PC too, like Steam. I do think outside of some bigger titles for Apple Arcade, this might have created a situation where many titles were going under the radar for the most part. I tend to look for hidden gems or games that need more attention, and I have never heard of Air Twister before. I happened to run across it and I figured it was worth giving it a try. To my surprise, it's a really fun arcade title. Like I said at the start, we need more titles like this on the market. Not everything needs to be this huge massive game, or live service type of thing. Sometimes I just need something simple, to the point, and this is just fun to play. Air Twister very much delivers on all fronts, and it's the type of hidden gem that I like to go to bat for. It's a really good game that deserves more eyes on it. I think I might make a few more videos on this title, just to give it a bit more exposure too. So far, I highly recommend it. Have you played Air Twister? What is a smaller indie gem that you really enjoyed? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.